Hello and welcome back to the channel of Major Look 92, the Shaman of Gaming, and more importantly, welcome back to my series of gun reviews for Modern Warfare 3. As you can see on the screen at the moment, I'm bringing you today the first LMG in the series of guns, which is the LSW, and as I mentioned in the M4 review, this has actually turned out to be one of my favourite guns in the game, if I'm sort of, in a position to use it, if I'm in the mood to use it, because as you can tell, and if you've seen other people's videos like Timar talking about the run speeds, the LMGs have got the lowest run speed. It's 87.5% total run speed, I believe. And so what you want to really do with these LMGs, and all of them are the same, even though some of them look bigger, the M60 and the PKP Pecheneg. They look like they're much bigger, but the run speed's the same for all of the LMGs. So what really want to do is, rushing is out of the question. You can camp if you want, but it sort of looks like I'm camping here. But what I'm doing is holding down a sort of a larger area than just maybe a room, which would be classed as camping. You want to sort of hold down a choke point where people are going to sort of flood through, and use the power of your weapon, use the stability of your weapon, and use the sort of range that they have, and to be honest, a lot of them are actually quite accurate, especially this one. It's really accurate, and it's probably more like an assault rifle than any of the others. Sort of in Black Ops they had the Stoner, which pretty much was an assault rifle. This isn't quite like that, it doesn't quite compare, but it's more like the assault rifles than the other ones, because the others have these big, these box magazines or the drum mags, stuff like that, so they're much more like a typical LMGs, whereas this is more like an assault rifle, and it sort of works the same way when you're firing it, other than when you're running it, running with it, should I say. You feel the weight of it, and you sort of feel weighed down yourself in real life, in real time. But anyway, let's sort of get back onto more about the actual gun itself. This gun, as I said, one of my favourites in the game. If I sort of am in the mood to sort of not move around a lot, if I've maybe been rushing, this is quite a good way to use it. If you've been rushing and you find that you're not having a lot of success, then try an LMG and hold your ground, that's a good way to put it. Put the way you should play when you're using an LMG. Hold your ground, hold your position. Cut off a choke point. But yeah, this gun it's actually really good. It's really powerful. It's fairly accurate as well. Although, like I said, I think that was in my M4 review as well. The iron sights on this game, they're not the best. The iron sights of this gun aren't very good, really. They sort of look like a rugby conversion posts a little bit. So a sight is good, but once you've got the grip, the iron sights are quite ignorable. It doesn't really make a difference. The grip's just the perfect attachment for LMGs. You really do want to take advantage of the grip if you unlock it. And but other than that, the sights are good, as you can see here. It sort of bounces up and down. But as you saw displayed there, don't try and hip fire it, because you will come to your doom using it like that. It's not a light weapon. It's a weapon to be holding your ground with, to be sort of being a sort of overlook player, and trying to find these long lines of sight that you can really just concentrate on. As I said, the recoil on this gun's really manageable. As you can see, when you're using a red dot, the dot sort of just goes up and down when you're firing, so you don't really need to sort of tap fire or anything like that, like you do with a lot of the other weapons in this game. Because recoil numbers are sort of really random in this game. They're all over the place. But yeah, use a grip when you unlock it. Until then, use a sight, use a red dot sight, whatever. But the grip, definitely the perfect weapon. Perfect weapon. The perfect attachment for this gun is the grip. So definitely use that, and with the rest of the LMGs, definitely use a grip once you've unlocked it. But other than that, sort of in this game, I believe that LMGs probably have a smaller place than in other sort of Call of Duty games. Other than, like, I don't know, Black Ops, it lent itself more to LMGs than this game does, but the LMGs in that game weren't very good at all. You know, the HK21 and the RPK were a bit like, the M60 was manageable. I probably got my best Black Ops game with the M60, and then the Stoner was a really good weapon. But you know, the typical early ones, the HK21 and the RPK, were awful. This game, like I say, it doesn't really lend itself to LMG play, apart from some of the maps. Like, you probably wouldn't find a lot of success on Dome, on Arcaden. What are some other maps? Mission, you could probably get away with it. You know, you could probably sit as long as you stayed on one of the long lines of sight. Yeah, a lot of the missions, a lot of the maps in this game don't lend themselves to LMG play. This one here does. It's got a lot more long lines of sight than some of the other maps. You know, this game's sort of more focused on running round a corner, hip firing, which obviously is just not. It's completely the opposite of what you want to do with these type of heavy weapons. So yeah, a lot of the maps don't really favour an LMG. This one's good. Outpost, another map that would probably be difficult to use an LMG on. But yeah, there's some that are definitely viable. Resistance is a good one. Lockdown is a good one. So what I always do is I always set up, like when I've got just my 5 custom classes, I'll set up a sort of rushing class for my SMG, then an assault rifle, LMG, sniper rifle, shotgun, just because I want to have that diversity in the game. I want to be able to switch up when a map that lends itself to a certain type of weapon pops up. And that's the sort of way I set my classes up. And there's always a place for an LMG, and a lot of people ignore them, but definitely, if you haven't used this weapon, definitely try it. It's a beast at pretty much any range, as you can tell. In previous Call of Duty games, the thing that the LMGs have had is that the damage drop off pretty much doesn't exist. It does the same sort of damage from any range, which is just like, insane. It's another weapon, if you've got the time to line up your shot, there's nothing better really. From long range other than the sniper rifle. So, if you feel that you're not an LMG person, maybe just try it, and I'm sure you'll find some success and some pleasure in using it, because these sort of they have a good impact on your game as well. They give you that sort of defensive edge. As you can see, that's a fail, but yeah, it was using that beast of a weapon, which we will get to, of course. But yeah, it sort of gives you that defensive edge. If you're a player that really shines rushing about, running around a corner with a P90 spraying from the hip, and you suddenly hit like a valley in your game, use an LMG and try and slow yourself down, because I enjoy it. It's not camping, as you can see. I've popped up on all different areas of the map. But the thing I really want to talk about at the end of this game is, you probably noticed that in these first 3 videos, the score's not amazing, and that was never really what I planned to do with this video series. All I really want to do is focus on the way I've actually played during this game, and the sort of why I had any sort of success, because I used the weapons to its strength. Look, I'm just poking up there, but anyway, yeah. If you enjoyed the video, if you are looking forward to the next one, which will be, I believe, the first sniper rifle, the Barrett 50 cal, so one to look forward to. So if you like these videos, give it a thumbs up, give it a favourite if you think it deserved a favourite, and hopefully come back for the next one. Cheers.